Hey everyone, welcome to another issue of Jay and Bax's Expensive Paper. Tonight we've got a special guest with us. We have Adam Daniel here. He is a comic artist based out of Colorado Springs. So we'll be talking with him tonight and learning all about his story. So make sure to stay tuned.
Apologies for being a bit late, but we were having some technical difficulties. Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight, and it's going to be a great one.
Adam,
Hey, how's it going, guys?
good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Super excited to be here, share a little bit about me. I appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Yeah, we appreciate you being
Yeah,
here.
our pleasure, man. Glad you could join us. And yeah, let's just dive right in.
Sure.
Adam, how did you get started in this whole world of collecting and, in your case, drawing and being artisty and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty similar to most artists. We most of us start off by doodling, right? Especially at a young age. I think everyone, right, has a little bit of artistic talent. Everyone likes to doodle and do stuff in their notebooks while when they're supposed to be paying attention in class. And that's definitely been me. Started at a young age. I remember one of my first memories of art was going on. We had old school fat computer that had internet, and I remember just googling cartoon characters, simple ones, SpongeBob, Courage the Cowardly Dog, all the popular ones at the time. And I remember just grabbing a sheet of printer paper and a pencil and just trying it out, right? Just seeing how it turns out. And I remember looking back and being like, that's not bad, and probably today it would probably look like crap, but uh, at the time I was like, okay, I think this is not half bad. And I definitely took art in, when it started getting a little more serious, right, in high school, entering art competitions, um, and eventually taking classes in college, which was not my major. I never intended to pursue art professionally. It was always more of a hobby for me. And in college, I took, color and composition, still life, charcoal, all the basic stuff, to kind of get those credits out of the way more than anything. So I graduated with a bachelor's in communication. So that's my day job, right? I have my day job, and then kind of on the side, which I'm hoping to overlap the two, is art, and it honestly started with comic books first. First of all, after college, I kind of fell art out of art a little bit. I started focusing more on my career and getting a house, and I got married last year and all that stuff. But my love for comics started growing, right, as a hobby, and so collecting, watching stuff, streams like this, Instagram shows, whatnot, was a huge influence at the time, and just getting addicted, man, right? Like, I think a lot of collectors are just addicted to the hobby, and talking to people and seeing getting good deals, and maybe getting a second copy and selling whatever, and I was starting to get too much inventory, right? I was collecting too much to the point where I was like, okay, I need to start selling some of this stuff. So I started a small selling career. So I do have another selling page, which I'm slowly slowing down as I gear up more for art. And so now I'm in this transitional stage. I think probably for the last year or so, I've been more art focused than comic selling focused. So now I'm trying to push out, I don't really have time to sell comics and buy them and flip them and all that. I still buy, right? I still go to my local comic shop, when there's a book that I want. Um, but all my free time, man, lately has just been getting ink on paper, improving my skills, getting my reps in. And so I'm at where I'm at now. I think that I'll probably, hopefully, get on a cover soon. Fingers crossed. But for now, I'm doing other stuff like this. You know, interviews. I have a con, big announcement, a con tomorrow. My first convention, which is super
Nice.
exciting.
Congrats.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been
Awesome.
prepping for that, man. And there is far more that goes into it than one would imagine. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What's
So
been the
that's
biggest surprise?
Uh, just getting the little things down, man. Just like 10 minutes before this show, I was like, "Do we need paper towels?" And my wife's like, "For what?" And I'm like, "I don't know, like to like dot the Posca markers or the ink wash." And she's like, "Okay." So she, tore off a big old piece. So, yeah, just a lot that goes into it for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. What con is it?
So it's a local con here in Colorado Springs. It's called Colorado Cosmic Con.
Okay.
Um, the big draw is a lot of like mobster type actors. So like people from The Sopranos are going to be there.
Nice.
People from The Godfather. Yeah. So
Joe
I don't really
Pesci.
know what to expect. So
Anyone like big like Joe Pesci or
no, no one that I
okay.
recognize. Yeah, that'd be cool
Okay.
though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Sopranos is a great show and it should be awesome getting those people over there. So um
Yeah.
well
Good
anyone
luck
who's
tomorrow,
watching
man.
in the area, go check it out.
Yeah, definitely go support Adam. We're going to showcase some of the art that he's done. But he's a great artist. Support your local artists, and even if they're not local, try to support the little guys so that they can get big time. Wish you the best of luck tomorrow. I'm sure you're going to knock it out of the park. Um, get more exposure, and hopefully that'll be a platform for you to keep growing, man, because you do really do good work. So,
Yeah, thank you, man. One big thing too that I did for this con, which is super exciting. So I kind of know the guy who's running it, right? Who is putting it all together, and I did the vendor badges for the con. So I don't know if
Oh,
that
nice.
counts as a publish, but
nice, man.
I think it
there's
does.
four.
Yeah.
I think it does too, right? There's four. One that says vendor, artist, volunteer, and celebrity. So I did four. I wish I brought them down. Four individual drawings that I colored digitally. My wife actually colored digitally, and yeah, they're printed on the little badges. It's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Awesome. You'll have to let us know how it goes, and not just the con, but and be curious to see how your expectations versus reality, whether they were met, surpassed. And those little things, like you said, did you need the paper towel? What did you forget last minute? But hopefully you'll knock it out of the park, man. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. So, should we jump into some of the art that you have for us? Start with some videos, and you can talk us through your process
Yeah,
as
I'd
we
be
go
happy
through the
to.
video. All right. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, this one was fun. So this one was more of an experiment than anything. I really wanted to play around with how far I can stretch ink in the sense of transparency. So as a, fire is not a solid thing, right? You can often see through fire. And when you're working with just black and white, it's kind of hard to illustrate that. So this was more of
Oh
an
wow.
experiment to try to see where I can push that limit. Can I make fire look like fire? And so you'll see a lot, especially at the top, kind of towards like where the fire starts ending on the edges. I played around a lot with Posca, with white pen, different textures, and I really wanted to give that sense of like embers kind of coming out, right? Like fire does. Um, One thing that probably in the future that I'd like to mess around with is ink wash with fire, right? Because that gives it that kind of transparency. But for this piece, I wanted to challenge myself, see if I can accomplish what I wanted to with just ink. And I think it did. I think it looks like fire. So I'm really
Oh
happy with
yeah,
the way this came out. Yeah.
yeah, you nailed it. That looks
Yeah, you
awesome.
nailed it. And even the chat agrees. Jason says he thinks you succeeded, and I definitely agree with that. It's a very, very cool piece.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Uh, let's get another one.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Battle Beast. Man, who doesn't love
Battle
Invincible,
Beast.
right? So big Ryan Otley influence on this one, as you could probably tell. One major thing for me is finding the right references, right? Making sure that my proportions are right, making sure that the character looks like the character. So this was actually my first time drawing Battle Beast. So a little bit of a challenge, right? How does his hair go from straight to braids? What do his gloves look like? Do people even know that he wears gloves, right? Like I didn't know until I started really drawing him. So just getting to know that was really fun. And then I'm starting to explore a little more with color. So you'll see that I used marker, alcohol marker on that piece.
Hmm.
And I gave it, the classic blood splatter going everywhere, kind of Invincible, what you expect from Invincible. And I knew I wanted to do a very anatomically correct heart. So I actually pulled up, references of real hearts because I wanted it to look gross. I wanted you to see the veins, and I wanted it to look like the heart was still pumping. So if you see kind of at the top there, the blood is still getting pumped from the heart. So it's almost like he just recently grabbed, took
Ripped
it
it
out of
out.
someone's chest, and just holding it like, haha, I won.
It's
No,
pretty
that's
cool.
great. I think
Is
you
the
nailed it.
Yeah, as the son of a heart surgeon, Jay.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he's a cardiovascular and angiologist surgeon. So
Oh
no, I
man,
think you nailed it.
I didn't know I was gonna get a critique like this.
Yeah.
No, this looks real. This looks like something I would have seen in, I would come home sometimes and he would have slideshows, old school, transparencies of operating rooms and kind of gross stuff that probably a 8-year-old shouldn't be exposed to. But
Oh no.
um, no, this is great, man. I really like it. So before we move on to the next one, you mentioned getting the anatomy right, and I think that's really important. Um, when you draw a person like a Peter Parker, it's very different than when you draw, like you mentioned, Battle Beast, which is a completely fictional character.
Mhm.
How do you balance, that those differences in anatomy? Do you, aside from references, like if you had to create something like a Battle Beast, what would do you think would be your process on top of that? Like, do you think you would take pictures of yourself and then just enhance them based on other references, or what can you tell us in regards to that kind of
Yeah,
thought
great
process?
question, man. Yeah, excellent question. So to be honest, yes, I do take pictures of myself often. It's kind of hilarious. Because I have all these like cringy, ridiculous photos of myself that no one's ever gonna see. Um, but yeah, so for this one, for example, right, you want to make sure that no matter what size you're going, right? So the Hulk is obviously going to be bigger than Spider-Man. Battle Base is going to be bigger than Invincible, stuff like that. Regardless of that, that comes later, right? I normally make sure that everything is at least proportional. So yeah, I will use myself as reference. I'll make sure I'll draw an arm, right? I'll pencil an arm. I'll make sure the forearm is a good length compared to the bicep, where the shoulder is. You make sure you get your basics down. Then you're right. Now I go in. Then I start looking at Ryan Otley's Battle Beast. Then I start looking at references, and then I exaggerate those proportions, right? So I really wanted a big hand, right? I wanted to really show that he's holding maybe a T-Rex heart, something big, right? I wanted everything to be enlarged and exaggerated there. Um, and yeah, that's kind of how where I go from it. If I'm drawing the Hulk, I might approach it a little differently because he is so exaggerated. But same thing, right? Maybe I focus on one area. So to me, the Hulk, he's all up here. right? He's all chest and bicep and traps and stuff. So I'd probably start there, right? So make that huge, huge, huge. Then I'd go in and make sure that his abs are proportional, his waist, and then that's when references come in, right? I look at how other people do the Hulk. Well, does Hulk have a proportionate head? No, he doesn't. His head is super tiny compared to his body, right? If he had a head that was the size equipped for his body, he wouldn't look like the Hulk. So that's kind of the approach that I take when I'm penciling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we have another video.
Oh man, good old Swampy. Yeah. So
Swampy.
yeah, I wanted to invoke a lot of emotion on this. So I didn't want like a big, swamp thing coming out of the swamp yelling or anything like that. I wanted to do a very expressive piece with a very textured character. Has a story behind it. So a friend of mine was going through a hard time, and I wanted to help, and I figured what better way than to put my skills, what I can do, um, for good. And so this piece was actually an auction that I did on my Instagram, and 100% of proceeds from this went to my friend. Um, and it went well. It sold. It sold for a great price. She was beyond words, super super happy that I raised some funds for her in a time of need, and super happy with the way this one came out. This piece is actually the very first piece I've ever done on an 11 by 17 comic board.
Hmm.
So kind of a special piece. The owner has definitely something unique, one of one, and something that I took a lot of time with. If you were to, I have prints and stuff, but if you were to like zoom in on the picture on the scan, you could see like I really really took my time to get each vine with shadow and texture, and I wanted things to overlap. Um, so a lot of different techniques went into this one as well. And again, one that I'm super proud of, super happy with the way it came out. And it's one that I make prints for. So for example, tomorrow there's going to be prints of this exact piece for sale. So super proud of this one.
Awesome. Where did the auction happen?
On Instagram,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Just made a post and said, go ahead and go crazy in the comments, bid it up, and then the bid's gonna end on this day, and where it ends, it ends. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
awesome piece.
Yep. And we don't have any more videos, but we have a couple of pictures that you sent us. So if you want to walk us through some of these, and I saved my favorite for last. I'll dare say the
Okay.
best, but I am biased. You guys will see. But yeah, Batman.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought this one up because this is one of the vendor badges. So this
Hmm.
is small. It's on a here. I'll show you. I have an equivalent to show you real quick. So this guy out. All right, so this is one that did not make it to the vendor badges because I made too many of these. Um, but this is a Superman. I don't know if you can see it well. So that Batman is in the exact same stance and same angle and all that stuff as Superman because I wanted the badges to be very cohesive. So again, this one did not make it to a badge, but that Batman did. That one is heavily, heavily influenced by one of my favorite artists of all time, David Finch. Um,
Mhm.
Finch is an absolute master with shadow. The guy knows, he just knows how to view the world. He knows where to block in shadows. He knows where highlights are supposed to be. Everything makes sense. So this was heavily inspired by David Finch, and he does some insane line work, man. I tried to mimic it as best I could on this piece. Um, but his I feel like my piece is a lot more structured, and I feel like he's done it for so long, and he's so good as a true professional. It just flows, and you can kind of see it in his art. I
Mhm.
think that probably this took twice as long as something similar would take for him. So um, I think it came out badass though. I love it. It's gonna be for the original is gonna be for sale tomorrow. And I would not be surprised if this is the first one to go. This is probably my favorite out of the 4 badges that I made.
Yeah, this is really cool, and I really like, how you use the light source and kind of the three
Mhm.
profile, side profile, three-quarter type thing. I think it's really cool how you use the light there.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you. Are you guys fans
Yep.
of the tiny bat ears or the big bat ears?
I prefer the tiny.
it
Tiny.
depends on me. I think it depends on the artist as a whole. I think the tiny look good in some storylines, but for example, when you have, your Elseworlds and you have Batman versus Dracula, Kelly Jones with the big
Mhm,
ears,
Just
mhm.
massive.
um, just massive. I think they make sense. So,
Yeah. Yep.
and
What
this one
size was
is
that, by
for
the way? Just out of curiosity.
The Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could kind of see like compared to the Superman. So this is just a regular modern comic backing board, and it's even smaller than that. So
Okay.
kind of little mini guys. Just because
Well,
again, like they're gonna get shrunk down even smaller. So I
yep.
didn't want to go too crazy big.
all right. And Chris at Cheddar Comics does not endorse us, but he's a great seller on IG. Um, I didn't realize you worked on one of his t-shirts. Is
Yeah,
that what this
dude.
is for, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cheddar is the man. He is one of the first people to commission me ever. Um, and yeah, I mean, this was well into his popularity already. He's been established as a good seller for a long time, and it was very flattering for him to reach out and say, "Hey, man, how would you feel about doing this for me? I've had this idea of doing Hulk Steranko's Hulk, and instead of saying, battle in humans, it'll say Chet Comics." And I'm like, dude, that sounds awesome, and as an artist, homages and stuff that's kind of already established and done is not necessarily easier, but quicker at the very least. Because a lot of the work's done for you, right? I didn't
Mhm.
have to proportion out Hulk's arm compared to his hand, get a stance going, where do the shadows make sense. Steranko did all the work for me, right? Not to say that this was easy by any means. Steranko is an amazing, legendary artist, and it as an artist, you really start to appreciate these artists more once you try to copy them, right? Not copy, but homage them, because you're like, man, how did this guy get this line work down? The angles in the legs, for example, there's this really nice fat dark line that shows off his calf muscle on his leg there. And it's like, man, like I would have never thought to do it this way, and as an artist you start to learn more by mimicking some of the greats and seeing how they approach things. This one was also done a little differently than my other pieces in that I used a dip pen and ink. I was on a dip pen kick, and if you guys aren't familiar, it's one of these guys, right? One of the
The old school.
with it, yeah, old school with a
Yeah.
nib. Rodney Ramos is who got me wanting to do that because he's amazing and he's on Whatnot. um, but so I did this piece with that, and that was challenging too because even now I feel like I haven't mastered uh, dip pen. It is something that has a huge learning curve. But regardless, man, I really took my time. I wanted to make sure that it was something that I was proud of, and more importantly, something that Cheddar was proud of. It art takes on a whole new life when it's a commission versus when it's just for fun for you. Um, I find that I spend a lot more time when it's for someone, right? I want to make sure that it's like super perfect. So took my time on this one. I was not messing with color at the time, like at all. So Cheddar actually commissioned a very talented colorist to color this up, and it looks pretty much exactly like Steranko's Hulk Annual. And his shirts are amazing. I should have worn one today. They really showcase the line work and the art. He got some like really high quality shirts. And it was so cool, man, right? Because again, this was early on. So to see my work on a shirt, that in itself was like, this is so cool. Like, you're telling me I get to wear the lines that I put down. Like, this is awesome. So super historic piece in my career, and it really made me more confident and comfortable with commissions as well.
Do you
Nice.
think there's more pressure when you're doing a homage than when you're doing your own because you don't want to do the original artist wrong?
Um, I'm gonna say no. I and every artist is different, right? Different artists are better at some things than others. It's hard to compare artists to other artists. But for me, I am really good at copying, right? So like traditional art, if I look at you, like if I'm looking at you guys right now and I have a pencil and a paper, I can sketch the crap out of you guys right now. What's more difficult for me is coming up with stuff out of my head, not having that reference, not having that, not knowing where would the shadow actually go if this was real life. It takes a lot of mental load to figure out what looks realistic, for me, right? Not for everyone. So when it comes to homages, again, like the work's pretty much done. You know, I the process of penciling then inking afterwards is gives you a lot of leeway, right? Because if something doesn't look right while you're penciling, you just change it, right? You start with big shapes again, right? Shoulder, bicep, forearm. Okay, you look back. Oh, that looks a little off, right? And then you start slowly but surely kind of honing in, and then the very end you start inking, right? You get those details in. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, man, like even if because he's so structurally sound already, because Steranko did all that work, even if I mess up the shading, the hatching, the little technical things, right, that make a piece look cool, it's still gonna end up looking good because it looks like Steranko's. Again, I don't think that I truly captured his hatching, his line work. He's very different than me in that aspect. But when you look at the piece as a whole, you can say, okay, yeah, that's definitely Steranko's Hulk. Um, so
It's interesting. And yeah, definitely shout out to Chris at Chatter Comics, one of the good sellers and overall good guys in the community.
100%.
Let's see what's next. Clown.
Another early on piece, and you were gonna find this crazy, but this was free. Back when I was more of a seller, and packing up orders and stuff, I always feel like I don't know, I'm so weird. I always feel like I owe people more than what they bought, which is silly. Um, but I'm like, oh, you're so kind. Like you gave me money for stuff that I'm selling. So as a way to show my appreciation is I'll sometimes doodle, right? And this person, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they must have bought a lot of stuff. Because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it on a sketch cover, and I'm gonna do it big, right? Because normally the doodles are like palm sized or whatever. Um, and this was something that I did very loosely. So if you were to like zoom in and look at the picture, you'll still see my pencils. You'll see that the line work's not super tight. It's very loose. Um, I was really going for that McFarlane look, right? He's my favorite artist. Probably see Spawn
Oh
behind
yeah.
me.
Yep.
Uh, but if you've ever seen him draw, man, it's just like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, you just know where things go. What it's supposed to look like. So I really tried to capture that in this piece. I tried to go really loose, really quick. This piece took maybe 30 to 45 minutes, which is
Oh wow.
very fast for me. Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was just a quickie, and I look back and it's one of those moments where you're like, do I really want to give this away? Like now that I've done it and it looks good, you know? But no, I did. So there's a lucky person out there with this art in their hands for free.
Yeah, that is very lucky indeed. What about this guy?
Also a freebie, believe it. So this guy's deceiving. He is small. He's maybe like this big. I don't know if you could see, maybe like 4 inches tall. So not a huge piece. This one again, monsters are super forgiving. Creepy creatures are super forgiving. It's almost the opposite of drawing female characters, right? Who are very simple, and there's only so many lines. So if you mess up drawing Wonder Woman, you mess up, and you can tell, and there's no hiding from it. With monsters, creatures, absolute joker here. You can have fun, man. You can have so much fun with this. I went in and I was like, boom, boom, blam, blam, blam. And I did this all with a pen, like a G2 pen. So no fancy markers, no fancy anything. Just a super quick pencil. And I think you can kind of see in the work that it is pretty free flowing. It is pretty loose. I wanted to make sure that he had a lot of texture and vavas and spit and stuff in his mouth. But this came together, yeah, same thing, probably like not even 30 minutes, I would say, probably less. But these are fun, man. These are these little quick ones. This is kind of the quality and what I try to do for my little sketch cards.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. But and here's a fun one.
One of my recent favorites. Yeah. I put on my big boy pants and I busted out the alcohol markers. I've always said I'm not a colorist, right? I don't mess with color. It's not my wheelhouse. It's not something that I study. It's not something that I practice. Well, I think as an artist, that's part of growth, right? You got to make yourself uncomfortable. You got to make yourself do things that you don't want to do.
Mhm.
And I got this marker set for my birthday, and it's like, screw it, let's do it. Let's ink something, and then we're gonna throw some marker over it. And that's exactly what happened. This is my body exactly going like this in a mirror. Took a picture, sketched myself out, threw Deadpool over it. And then, obviously it's Deadpool Wolverine, so Wolverine had to make an appearance somehow. One struggle that I had with this one was, okay, compositionally, I think it looks pretty cool, but
Mhm.
does it make sense to not have Wolverine's fist at the back of his head, right? And I tried.
Mm.
Like I penciled in his fist a few times, different angles, and it just wasn't looking right. I think ultimately there wasn't enough space, right, between the edge of the
Yeah.
comic and the back of his head. So I left it out, and I think it came out looking pretty good still. I think it makes sense what's going on. I don't think you needed to see his fist. I think it's
Yeah.
implied. Um, and I mean, bloody, gory stuff is super fun to draw. Again, very loose. You don't have to be as like scared, right? You just go boom, 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 boom. And I really wanted to draw his eyeball, so I think it looks
I
pretty
think that's a
gnarly.
great touch. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the cherry on top of the
On top.
cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
And I
eye on
agree
top
with
of
you
the
too.
claw.
Yeah, I don't think the hand was needed. I'm trying to visualize that, and I think it's perfect the way it is. So
Yeah, thank you,
no,
guys.
this is great.
Well,
This one you drew, it's a
I did.
white. Yeah.
That one took no time at all.
did not load. I don't know why it didn't load.
Another freebie, man. Another freebie. This person, I don't remember exactly who it was, but I remember they were big Invincible fans. And again, this Mark is like this big. He's tiny. And honestly, when I do freebies like this, and they're small and kind of quick, it's almost like a study for me too. I kind of use these as a way to practice. Um, Not to say that like all my practice pieces are flipping amazing and like look all good and finish like this. No. But it is a good way to bust out the inks, the pens, see how they work, while still producing something that I'm proud of and okay sending to someone, right? And putting my name on. Um, so yeah, this one was an Otley study. So you will actually see uh, basically this image done by Otley. And I just, again, I figured that the person would appreciate an invincible piece. Um, and just putting my own kind of little spin on it. The blood was kind of like where I wanted it to go, not exactly what the reference was. But man, I learned actually a lot from this piece going into the battle beast piece and in the future. um Ollie's amazing, dude. His style and his line work is really fun to homage and try to execute, because if you go and you look at his line work, especially his outlines, he does a lot of like really straight sharp lines, right? Even if he's doing a
Mhm.
curve, he'll somehow incorporate it to make it look a little like sharp. And you can kind of see it here on Mark, right? So like right where his shoulder starts dipping, it's kind of this point, right? Where normally I would probably do a very soft round. But he's very chunky. Like his shoulder bicep is his own piece, and then forearm. So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this one. I thought it was a good learning experience for me too.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you mentioned that difference between the shoulders. I noticed it, but I didn't exactly know where to put my finger on it. And I'm glad that you mentioned it.
Yeah, you're gonna go back now, watch, and you're gonna look at Ollie's work and be like, I see it now. And then you're not
Yeah,
gonna be able to unsee it.
yeah. I know it was also subtle, but your signature in red, I thought that was a nice touch too, just to match
Thank
the
you.
blood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, this one was fun too. My wife, this was all my wife's idea. She's like, "Hey, you've been putting a ton of time and a ton of effort into these like drawings that you're saying are going to be very simple and quick." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." She's like, "Just do a headpiece." I was like, "Okay, fine." And then of course I had to not do what she said at all and go all out, and try new things and push myself instead of just doing something quick. So this piece, I don't have in my possession anymore. This one actually sold on a show. Um, but obviously we know Doom's coming. Obviously everyone's hyped between with Robert Downey Jr., who of course played Iron Man and is now playing Doom. I thought this piece would be appropriate for what's coming up, right? And I knew I wanted to do a headpiece, so it started there. And then I knew that I wanted to make it interesting, right? So I started making them a little battle damaged. I started with Iron Man on the left, wanted to give him a big gash, almost like something sharp, kind of like ripped from the top of his helmet all the way down, crossing his eye, right? Looking kind of like a scar. Um, so went in with that. Then with Doom, there is this John Boy Meyer Doom cover where a chunk of his armor is his helmet is missing, and there's this like grossness underneath, right? And I was like, that's cool. I want to do something like that. So I definitely made almost like a burn or a chemical burn or something, right? Kind of hit Doom's face right under his eye and then revealed this like disgusting, maybe he got blasted by Iron Man's energy beam. And so I really had a lot of fun making that texture right in his cheek. And then I was like, this is really cool. Let's keep going. So I I taped everything off. Actually, I didn't tape everything off. This was before I started using masking tape. My wife actually cut out an exact plastic shape out of like a bag from like a bag and board. Cut out the exact shape of both of their heads so that I can put it on top, get a toothbrush, and dip it in ink and start splattering, right? And start getting that mist. So that's what you see in the background is a lot of the toothbrush kind of splatter coming off there.
Very cool.
Very
Yeah,
ingenious.
that's clever.
Yeah, thank you. I think it adds a lot of interest for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, your favorite.
This is a commission. This is what's on my COAs. I love this one that much. So this was a commission. It was for a buddy who knows me on Whatnot. Every time I stream, he goes in there, says hi. Super nice guy. And he's like, "Hey man, you have this Silver Surfer piece that you drew that I'm interested in." He's like, "How much would it be for you to do that and to just do a spawn, right?" And I'm like, let me see. And I ended up charging him um a lot more for the Silver Surfer than the spawn because I hadn't made the spawn yet. And in my mind, I'm like, this is just going to be a little simple thing. It's going to be nothing. Then I made this. I don't know what it is. I just start going and I can't stop. This was supposed to be like a little remark. Um, but again, I think a lot of it stems from experimenting, right? Like to me, I'm not putting a lot of mental load and effort into this. Not effort, I shouldn't say that. A lot of mental load into making this in like a full extravagant piece.
Hmm.
So when I'm in that mindset, I'm like, ooh, this might look cool. Ooh, this would look cool. This would look cool. So in this one, I experimented with the fineness of the microns. So little micron pens come in, all sorts of different sizes. And the thinnest one is like super thin. I'm like, what the heck do people ever use this for? So I put it to the test, and that's how I got that really soft gradient at the bottom. So you can see kind of in the middle of them there where the white bats are, it's like pure black. And then I used a kind of fat micron, right, to start getting a lot of that hatching down, and then a thinner, and then a thinner, and then a thinner. So at the very bottom, you have the thinnest micron kind
Okay.
of fading into the white. And I was like, oh man, that looks pretty cool. Now I see why people use the smallest micron.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I think of Spawn, I think of bats, so, I was like, how cool would it be for the bats to show up not just around him, but, like, kind of in space in front of him, right? And how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of black there, so they have to be white. So, I think the contrasting bats add a lot to this piece as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it looks really cool, and I like the cape. Because that Spawn's cape is, I think half the character. Oh,
Per McFarlane, it is a living thing, so there it is. That's my banner. I This is a fun story. So this was kind of a collaboration piece between my wife and I. So I actually did again a freebie sketch for a friend, the same friend who I ended up doing the swamp thing to raise money for. Um, she's super cool, big Spawn fan, right? And obviously, I'm a big Spawn fan. So if somebody's interested in my art and they're a Spawn fan, they're gonna get the extra special treatment. So she had bought a few like Spawn comic books for me as a comic seller, not as an artist. I was like, I want to do something really nice for her. So I ended up doing a pencil sketch, right? Again, I didn't like do anything crazy. Like the pencils are very simple. I wanted to have fun with the texture of the throne in the back, right? Because it's kind of this gross amalgamation of who knows what, right? Bodies and gross stuff. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and I sent it to her, and she was like, "This is amazing," super appreciative. I was like, "Cool, yes, that's what I wanted." Then later on, I was like thinking about that piece, and I'm like, "That was a cool piece." And then the next day, like, yeah, that was a really cool piece. I couldn't get the piece out of my head, so I was like, I'm gonna ink it, I think. And obviously, I don't have it anymore. So I from the picture that I had, my wife actually ended up inking it for me digitally. So all that line work, all that's all her. Super talented. She's knocked it out of the park, right? And every now and then she'd come to me and be like, "Do you like how this we would collaborate. Do you, no, maybe this should be like this. Maybe turn this, And I don't do digital. Like this is my one and only digital piece, truly. Um, so kind of unique, kind of fun. And one of the reasons that it's my banner, right? Because with um, non-traditional, you can with digital.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh, we
Whoop.
good?
Yeah, I think
you're
we're good.
back.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So with digital, you can blow it up, right? You can make banners, you can make big stuff. So this is my con banner with my name on it. That's going to be
Mhm.
behind me. So anyway, she did all that, and I went in and colored it. First time ever coloring something digitally as well. I think it came out great. One of my favorite pieces. This is kind of when you think of Adam Daniel, I want people to kind of associate this piece with me. So super special piece. I'm going to be selling prints of this as well tomorrow. Full 11 by 17 pieces.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. And is she
Good.
also a comic artist?
No, she's just for funsies artist.
Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't. She's not into comics the way I'm into comics. But she is an amazing artist.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good collaboration there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she killed it. She absolutely killed it. Hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, Spidey. Very, very McFarlane-y Spidey.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say.
was gonna
It's
say the
very
big
familiar.
eyes. Big eyes
Mhm.
kind of give that away.
Yeah. So you can kind of see the influence there.
Jawline too. Yeah.
Yeah, another one that was just a freebie, man. This one was super quick. Spidey's such a fun character to do a head sketch on. I think the complexity of him comes when you're doing his weird poses, and Spider-Man's all over the place, right? He half of the time he looks broken, like a body shouldn't be able to do that. But doing his headpiece is so fun because you can do kind of this generic head, right? McFarlane likes to give him the really sharp jaw, likes to give him the big eyes. So kind of followed that inspiration. And as long as you have, a general head that looks okay and you give him the big eyes, last thing you do is you give him the webs and boom, you have Spider-Man. So anyone who's like wanting to just doodle or mess around or like explore art or just for fun, who cares, right? Definitely recommend doing Spider-Man. Once you figure out that his webs kind of start here in his brow and go outward, and then you realize that the webs go outward, that's it. Like you've got Spidey down. Like if you were gonna try a character, I highly recommend doing Spidey. And I don't know if I said it already, but this one was a freebie too. So.
It's a nice freebie.
Yeah.
Go Thor.
Yeah, this is the official like Adam's gonna start doing color piece. So this one again kind of took pictures of myself, holding a TV remote or whatever, and then buffed it up. My arm doesn't look like that, okay? Buffed it up like crazy. He's Thor, right? So in my mind, I'm like, he's a whatever god, demigod, whatever he is. Like, dude's gonna be jacked, right? Like, I want him to be like unproportionally strong. And so I really exaggerated that on his hand, on his arm. I knew I wanted to do like a torso piece. I didn't want to do like a full, him holding the hammer up kind of thing. And I really wanted the interest to lie in the background, right? I had this vision before I even started laying out composition of just the lightning going everywhere from his hammer. I like wanted it to come from his eyes. I wanted it to come from his hammer. And I really wanted to emphasize that with color, which again, I wasn't really doing color at this time. Um, and so kind of again a little bit of an experiment with lightning. You kind of almost always have this jagged shape, right? General like line. Then to make it look bright, you have a solid white line kind of in the middle of that piece of that shape, and then you gradient out, right? So you kind of get lighter where the white is, darker to the edge. And so that's kind of what I was playing around with here. Ink that started. This is actually colored pencil, which I don't do a whole lot of. I just figured that the markers were going to be too fat, too difficult to
Mm.
get into those little lines. Um, so yeah, this is colored pencil, marker, and ink.
Yeah, it's really
Nice.
cool. I really like the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it plays really well with the trade dress.
I was going to ask you guys, one thing that's always fun to figure out is like how much of the title do I cover up? So if you guys were to commission me for this exact piece, would you have said, go ahead and cover up the Immortal Thor or keep it integrated the way it is?
Hmm.
I
I
like it the way
personally,
it is.
yeah, I would have wanted to keep the title.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Hmm.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Fun pencils. So I would say that inking is definitely secondary to me. Starting from the get-go as an artist, I've always been a pencil guy. To me, it's so much easier to look at something and say, okay, it's dark over here, then it gets light over here, right? And how do I achieve that? Well, you put more pressure here,
Hmm.
and then you start lifting your hand until it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, right? And so that's how you get gradient. That's how you get realism. That's how you get soft textures. So that's always been me, always. Then comic books, that's not how it's done, right? You don't really see pencils as covers. It's very rare. Traditionally, it's pencils, then you ink those pencils, and then normally it gets colored digitally, right? Well, this, believe it or not, was a freebie. I remember I can't remember what was going on in my life, but it was something that was weighing heavy on my mind. And I remember that I was sending out orders and I was like, I'm just gonna do a simple Venom, right? Because I love doing Venom. Venom's like one of my favorite characters to draw. And I remember thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna do a simple head sketch. The tongue is gonna be the main focus, but I really want to do like a realistic tongue, right? I want to look up references to make sure that that's correct. Well, I started, and as I was going, I wasn't even thinking, dude. I was like lost in La La Land. I was just thinking about whatever was weighing heavy on my mind. I remember drawing it like this, like just being at the table. Like again, I can't remember what was so pressing in my life at the time, but it was such a good distraction to just be able to do something familiar to me in pencils and just like let my mind go. And before you knew it, dude, I look back, I was like, holy like I did not mean to do this much detail on this piece. I was like, I can't. Again, it's one of those where I look back, I'm like, I don't want to give this away. But of course I did. But yeah, man, you could see the tongue. Like when you look at someone's tongue, this was a good learning experience. Like there's definitely this like mid line that kind of happens,
Hmm.
kind of on the middle of your tongue, and that's what gives it that nice distinction from the bottom shadow to the light on top. Um, so yeah, I mean this piece, I love it. I love pencils. I don't do a lot of pencils because again, I'm trying to doing comic art. So it's very rare that I do pencils.
Nice.
No,
I
this
like
is
the story behind it that you shared, even though you can't remember. Just knowing that this was almost like a therapeutic piece for you is kind of cool.
yeah, that's really cool.
And that does not happen a lot. It does not happen often. Normally, when I'm drawing, I'm like, "Why am I doing this right?" Instead of just like enjoying it.
So a question for you then, you say Venom's one of your favorites too. And this is for you too, Bex, but I was in social media earlier today.
Oh no.
Um no, just it's my filtered one with, but they were talking about Venom and how the character now appears to be diluted because everyone's Venom. You have Venom Gwen
Oh.
and Mary Jane is now. So is Venom the symbiote or is Venom truly should be Eddie Brock and the symbiote. What are you guys' take on that?
Go ahead, Bax.
Well, to me, Venom is Eddie Brock. I don't know. No. It's not like when the symbiote went to Peter, he wasn't Venom. He was still Spider-Man. Right?
Right.
So I guess that's
Right.
my argument.
But with the publishing now, you have
I know
Venom
you've got
Gwen or
like
Gwen Venom.
Yeah,
You have
Gwen Venom, yeah.
Anti-Venom, who was,
Yeah, I know.
Eddie's son or whatever. So
Maybe I'm
what
just
about you,
old.
Adam?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, technically, right? Because of the writing and everything, it's technically, I think now, especially, Venom is more the symbiote. To me, Venom is Eddie Brock. Just because I was born in '94, right? So like, watching
That's
the
what we grew up with.
cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in my heart, that's what it is. Now, technically, probably not. You have like Venom Horse and like everything's
Yeah. Had a
um,
Venom
Venom
horse in the
Horse.
movie too.
Yeah.
I think it starts becoming more of a just like a loose title, right? Because the same thing with Deadpool, right? Everyone there's like a Deadpool
Right.
everything also. So
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Well,
it probably is just like the natural evolution of the character, right? They just they
yeah.
have to expand on it, keep it kind of fresh and interesting. You can't just
Yeah.
have Eddie Brock forever. But to me, that's what Venom is.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you guys, but I think to your point where you have to expend everything, that's funny too, because that's why I think the Spider-Verse movies are so successful, because there are so many Spider-Man out there. You have
Yeah.
2099, you have Spider-Punk, you have Miles, you have
hmm
Spider-Man India, and you have Ben Riley, but Spider-Man to me will always be Peter Parker, no matter what.
Yeah.
agreed.
All right.
There's
Here
my
we have
guy.
another Venom.
Another Venom.
There's my guy. Yeah, another quickie, man. The super quick one. This one I really wanted. So on the last one, right, I focused on like the shadows and like the anatomy of a tongue. This one I was like, I just wanted to look cool, right? I want like a fun composition. I think I drew the tongue first. So like I went in and I was like, boom, 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 boom. Like I wanted to be going nuts and being all swirly and curvy. Then I went in and I put Venom's head kind of over it. Um, so I kind of did the initial, right, like quick shading and line work and shadows and stuff. And to up it, right, to make it even more kind of interesting and crazy is his spit, right? I feel like Venom's spit is like his own character. So what I did is I got a white pen, which white pens are so hard to find. And it was kind of running out of ink, but it started working in my favor. So if you were to like really look at the details of this piece, you can see like the spit kind of starts off strong and then kind of sometimes will fade out into the black and then kind of come back. And it gave it this like insane kind of like metal, like gross spit in his mouth, especially like in the black parts. So yeah, I was super happy with the way this one came out, and I didn't again want it to be like a full piece. This one was also free. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. But yeah, I wanted to stylize just his shoulders. He's there. Generally how big he is, right? Because if I didn't include this, he'd kind of look skinny. But I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure to illustrate, like, all right, you're looking at a big, beefy kind of Venom
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, I like your thought behind that to kind of frame them out.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my friend. Hold on. This is my buddy. Here he is. There we go.
Nice.
There's
This guy.
Violator.
Exactly. I found this at the flea market, and he was like $5, and I was so excited. He's worth like $5. I didn't get like a good deal or anything, but well, it was exciting because I found him loose already, right? I don't have to like buy new and be like, should I open it? Should I not? found him loose. I got home and I was like, I can't wait to draw this guy. So you can see it's like almost exactly, you know, what I drew. And again, when you have such an exact reference, it's really, really, the pressure's off. Like his shape is there, his foot being in the back behind his thigh is already there for you. The way his arm comes up is there. How far this is in the back, right? How much shading to apply right here. So this one was really fun. I knocked this one out pretty quickly, man. Probably in like an hour, maybe if that. Which is again super fast for me. Um, I wanted to. He looked a little boring by himself, so I added very very little like color splash. Um, so I kind of made him a little gray, and then I went in with alcohol markers to give his like his nails, and then I would imagine his horn and his nails are the same color. And then of course his red eyes. Um, so yeah, I love this piece. I see it and I'm like, that's my buddy. Like this guy hangs out with me all the time when I'm drawing.
Little buddy.
Dude, my
Nice.
little buddy.
There
Mm,
he is again.
there he is. This is selfishly a personal piece. I created this specifically to send to the McFarlane signing. So the first ever book that has a yellow label with my name on it. So
Oh,
I don't have
congrats.
it. Yeah, thanks, man. It's upstairs,
That's
or I showed it to
exciting.
you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so it says it's a 9A, which is amazing, and it says signed by. You can see it on my Instagram. Signed by
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane, signed and sketched by Adam Rascon. So big moment in my career to be CGC recognized. I can now freely send books. I haven't yet, just because I haven't had time. But yeah, man, how cool to say like at any time I could just send it off to CGC and get a yellow label with my name. Like that's so special.
Yep.
Um,
That's awesome.
and yeah, again, huge McFarlane fan. So this one is definitely staying in the PC. Maybe when I'm like 80 years old and uh, my family needs money, I'll be like, here, you could sell it, you know.
No, dude, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
really, really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Super happy with how it came out too. It's like I wanted McFarlane to see the little nitty gritty, right? Because that's his style. Is like he takes hours
Mhm.
on like just an ear or an eye or whatever. So if you zoom in, man, like the line work is like itty bitty 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 on this one.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then last but not least, my
Oh man.
favorite that you
Oh
shared with
man.
us.
There we
Oh
go. I can see why that's
yeah.
Jay's favorite.
This thing is huge too, man. This thing is like this big. It's pretty big. Definitely bigger than 11 by 17. I can't remember the exact size. Oh, my wife. Hello. Hello. Real quick. I don't know if you could. I'm
Yes.
showing
Oh,
it.
yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know if it shows up.
It's got to feel so cool to like share that label with Todd
Oh,
McFarlane.
dude, seeing his name next to mine is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Insane.
really cool, man.
But so anyways, this piece, man, maybe my second commission ever. And this was before I had any parameters, any restrictions, right? Because I was like just excited that people thought my work was good enough to pay for, right? I'm like, you know, like just flattered, right? And so I was like, yeah, dude, like whatever you want to do, you know. And I actually reached out to the customer here, and I was like, because he had posted on Instagram saying, I really want this exact piece, right? So what this is I can't remember. I think it's a cover for a team up or something. I can't remember. So this cover, this pose, everything exists, but he said, I want something fun reflected here. And he's like, either like members of the Avengers or Iron Man. And I was like, say less, you know. So this was before inking and coloring and all the stuff that I just kind of do now. So this guy got an absolute steal. I can't even tell you how much I charged him. It's like so embarrassing, but super glad that he got it. I mean, he helped me start what this is now, you know. So I'll always be appreciative of the people who commissioned me early on. But anyways, all pencil, man, except for the Infinity Stones. Um, Again, I blew this thing up. I did the whole like grid system, right? Of like, all right, where is this going to go in this square kind of thing. And yeah, man, I just knocked it out. I was nervous for the color because I was even less familiar with color back then. Um, and I had a hard time figuring out what to use for color. Like, do I use colored pencils? Do I use markers? You know, what do you use? And I wasn't familiar with what people used, especially on a pencil piece. Like, you don't really add color to a pencil piece. You know what I mean? So I ended up with colored pencil. My wife is a very talented color pencilist, and she kind of showed me like, all right, this kind of layers on top of each other. This is how you achieve the smoothness, that sort of thing. So believe it or not, the hardest part of this was the infinity stones, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, tons of fun, man. Again, that kind of Doom Iron Man thing going on. Obviously, I chose Iron Man instead of the Avengers. Thought it was cooler. Found a cool pose of him ready to shoot a beam at him. Yeah, I had a blast doing this one. It's a lot of shapes, believe it or not. I know everyone's gonna say art is all shapes, but this one more than other pieces, like it's just blocked, block. This piece is gonna be super dark. This shape is gonna be a little lighter, but yeah, like super stoked that it came out the way that it did. This is framed somewhere, hanging in someone's house somewhere. I don't know where.
Nice.
That's amazing. That
Yeah.
reflection,
Yeah.
and the color, even though I know you say, you never really color pencil pieces, I think that just makes the entire piece pop with the infinity stones there.
It does, yeah. Yeah, we've seen your penciling, your colored pencils, your inks, alcohol markers. What's your favorite media to use?
That's a great question. Boy, I guess it depends on the piece, right? If you ask me to
Okay.
draw like a celebrity, pencils all
Okay.
day.
Yeah.
If you tell me to draw Black Panther, inks is definitely going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with pencils, if that kind of answers it. But right now, man, I'm really trying to push myself. I want to get as good as I possibly can. I want to produce good stuff, cool stuff for people to enjoy. Because honestly, like I'm not in this for money. I'm not in this to become rich and famous. Like I just want to build community, talk to cool people like you, meet people at conventions. And right now, my number one goal is to get on a cover. So, and I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen
I think it will happen,
very
man.
I
soon.
think it
You're very
will.
talented.
I have no doubt in my mind that
Yeah.
it'll happen.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that's what we had for art you shared, but there's something I have here, a box
Bum, bum,
from
bum.
you.
What?
Should we do a little unveiling?
Let's do it.
It's not.
I didn't send you
open.
anything. What are you talking about?
Well, I hope it was you, because this unlike the other ones, this was not free. So
Right. Should have caught me early on, man. Should have caught me early on.
I know, man. Now I'm gonna have to try to catch you every time you go on a live sale if you're still gonna do it.
That's the best way, man. Things will calm down after this weekend. And I think I can open up my commissions after this weekend. But it's been a lot.
All right. And so, kind little note. Thank you.
Of course, man. Of course.
And I got stickers.
Got some first edition stickers.
Stickers are also fun. Sweet. We saw this earlier.
There we go. Yep.
And Adam's a very good packer, and I have to fight with the package a little bit.
You always gotta be super careful with your collectibles.
Oh yeah, it's not a complaint, man. Look at her.
Well, let's see it, Jay.
I'm getting there.
Magic. There you go.
I've been waiting to post this one, man. I'm so excited about this piece.
Dude, it's amazing. You knocked it out of the park.
Thank you,
Truly.
brother.
Truly you did.
Jay loves his magic.
Me too. She's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
The sword, the face, the hair.
That's all. Show it again, Jay.
Arm.
We can't see it. There we go.
I'm admiring it.
I know. But we want to see it too. That's awesome.
Yeah, so if you want to leave it up while I talk about it real quick. So I penciled this super tight. I think you saw on the show that I wanted to illustrate what kind of it would look like inked, so that people could bid on it. And, I didn't want it to be a complete surprise. But after you bought it, man, I went in and I went hard on the details, like on her arm. You could see a lot of like reflectivity, because you want it to look like leather, right? You don't want it to just look like a piece of cloth. So heavy highlights there. And honestly, man, you have one of the pieces early on of me drawing women. I usually draw monsters and male figures. Don't do a lot of women, so you probably have like one of the first 3 or so women figures that I've actually produced and sent out. So
no,
awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And you're wondering, comes with a COA from Adam Daniel Rascon.
That's me.
Dude, that's incredible.
Good choice on the signature color, man. I had a Sharpie that was like this really fun pink purple, so I think it pops.
Yeah, I thought it would. I'm really big on contrast, so anything that just makes things pop, I'm all for it. So thank you again, man. It took a lot not to open this since I got it on Tuesday.
Took a lot not to post it, man. I've been itching. I'm telling you. I'm like, I want to post it, but I don't want them to see it. So
well,
it's been a secret.
Now you can. Now you can. But thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you guys and your support. Seriously.
Yeah. And
yeah, absolutely. I want to talk to you backstage about commissions too. So
yeah, for sure.
Extremely talented, and it's been great having you on.
Yeah, I think you have something still for us.
Yeah, I wanted to unveil something. I haven't posted. I just finished this last night. So this has not seen anyone's eyes besides me and my wife and the guy who scanned this at the copy source. So I really wanted to have more 11 by 17s for the show tomorrow. So I tried to knock this out as quickly as possible. But again, me being me, right, I like want to make sure I spend the time and like make sure it's detailed and looks good. So I went in trying to figure out what character I wanted. I wanted to choose someone that I could do fairly quickly because I wanted to get it done on time, right? Again, the con's tomorrow. I just made prints today. I like raced to the finish line. And I kind of just went with what I know and what I know I'm good at. And if you've been following along with me this long, you know that it is creepy monsters and gross things. So I decided to do, I think this could easily be a cover. I decided to do Creep Show. And I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to show you now. And I'll zoom in on it too.
Yes.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So he's holding a little
shrunken head.
Yep. I want to make sure that I get all the little details. So this guy has a lot of line work.
Oh man, that is so awesome.
Yeah, you can see all the line work in the face,
Dude, I
uh,
love that.
eyeball, and then again, we talked about references a lot. This is my hand, just creepified. Wanted to have a little bone or tendon kind of hanging out there.
Sweet.
Um, yeah, and then you can kind of see like all the little hatching that I did on her cloak. Um, I don't know if this does it justice, but there's like a lot of little detail in this guy. So yeah, man, I'm gonna post this soon. I have a good scan of it. You can see it's full 11 by 17, pretty big. Um, yeah, I wanted to show you guys something that no one else has seen yet.
Well, thanks for giving us a premiere of that. Really appreciate it, and really
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you.
you coming on and talking about, your journey, your art, your your line of thought for creating some of this. I think that the thought process behind some of the pieces is just as intriguing as some of the art is. Because like you said, sometimes your state of mind definitely influences what you put on, like we saw in that Venom page.
Mhm.
So it's really fun to talk about it, and having people like you on the show who are super talented and willing to come on and share a piece of them with us. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, been a super pleasure. I mean, this is the first time that I've really gotten to talk about these pieces this way. So it's really fun, man. It's a great time, and I hope viewers find it at least a little interesting with me blabbing on. But more than anything, man, just getting to know you guys and hanging out with y'all. Like, I definitely want to keep in contact, and yeah, definitely cool thing you guys have going on here. So thank you so much for having me.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, we'd love to have you
Thank you.
back
Would love
again
to have you
someday.
back.
Um,
Um,
where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me mostly on Instagram, Adam Daniel Art. You can also send me an email at adamdanielart@gmail.com. But honestly, mostly Instagram. That's probably where you're going to reach me the best.
Okay, great. Yeah, Jay, we'll have to make sure to put a link down in the comments below or in
Yep,
the
I
description. I mean,
will. In the description on YouTube, once it allows me to do the edits, we'll put it out there.
all right.
I know you plugged in the con. Anything else that you want to plug in before we depart?
No, the only other thing I have going on is I will most likely have another Comic Underground live stream in the near future. We're setting that up right now. And I am also going to be, if you're in Colorado, at Colorado Springs Comic Con, which is a lot bigger than the one than tomorrow. There's going to be like Kevin Eastman, Marissa Tomei is going to be at that one. So that's the big
Nice.
one. So if you're in Colorado,
Nice.
definitely check me out there.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, go check
Well,
them out.
definitely go check him out. Follow him on socials. And yeah, I think, again, thank you for coming on. It's been great having you. We're going to say goodbye, but we'll talk to you backstage as we're off air.
Sounds good, man. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
in the meantime,
Keep flipping those pages.
we'll see you in the next issue.
Take care.